Is India's economy in trouble? And is the price of your onions the reason why? Onions are up nearly 60%. The price of sugar is up. The price of packaged goods is up. LPG, petrol, diesel, electricity, a bunch of other things. We're going to take a look at what's happening with Mengai right before the festive season. And at the end, I'll tell you what this means for the Indian economy and what these symptoms are actually telling us about what ails our country's economy. Remember, like, share, subscribe, sign up for our membership where you will get a free news bulletin every day where we'll tell you everything that's happening in the world, which is completely free of any sort of drama, any sort of disturbing visuals. You will just have the news every day. Okay, let's get to it. I want to start with taking a look at the price of onions. If you see it, onions are currently priced at about 43.5 rupees per kg. At the same time last year, they were 27 rupees, which means it's up about 60%. Wholesale prices have gone up even further. There's 68% increase year on year. And depending on where you live, you will pay considerably more. In Chennai, apparently, onions are 60 rupees. In Delhi, they're 55. In Kolkata, they're 53. The government has stepped in because it recognizes that this is in fact a big problem. The central government is moving onions from Nasik, Maharashtra to Delhi NCR through special trains called the Kanda Express. And the National Cooperative Consumers Federation is actually selling onions at half the price to flood the market with cheaper onions. But this is only the beginning. The prices have not come down yet. And onion is not the only problem. Sugar, like we told you a couple of days ago, is also a massive problem. Right before the festive season, when we enjoy our sugar most of all, sugar prices have shot through the roof. They've gone up 40% year on year. In some states, the increase is about 50%. So in 8 Indian states, including Uttarakhand, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, sugar has crossed 65 rupees. Well, just take Odisha as an example. I'll put that on your screen. You'll see that in August, the price was 67. So August 23rd, a couple of days ago, the price was 67 rupees and 40 paise. But it's gone from 46 to 50 about a month ago, and then to 55 about a week ago. So this massive increase has happened very recently. So what is going on? There are 3 possible justifications, and we really don't know which one to go by. The opposition politically has blamed the government for diverting sugarcane for ethanol production. Because remember, we make a certain amount of sugar every year. We consume almost all of it. We have to have a buffer of about 6 million tons of sugar before the festive season. We have half that much, which is why the government has now opened up sugar for import. India never imports sugar. We're the second largest producer of sugar in the world. We've never needed to import sugar. In fact, we cap export in order to be able to control the prices domestically. Now, the government, farmers' organizations are saying traders are artificially pushing up prices ahead of the festive season because they're hoarding. And the government says that it's because of lower than expected domestic production, festive demand, weather-related damage to sugarcane crop, and tighter global supplies and speculation and hoarding. Now, if there is in fact hoarding, the government can do something about it. We have laws that prevent hoarding of essential commodities in India. Nevertheless, from where we're looking at it, the price has in fact gone up. Now, before you take that sugar and make your halwa for the festive season, you need cooking oil. India consumes 26 million tons of edible oil every year, and we import a large chunk of it. We only produce 40% of the cooking oil we need. So our nariyal, our coconut oil from the south, our mustard oil, our til ka tel, it adds up to about 40% of what we're using. 60% edible oil consumption is actually imported, which means that we depend enormously on imports. Now, according to the Consumer Affairs Ministry data, the price of sunflower oil has gone up from 161 rupees per kg to 189 rupees per kg from last year this year. There's a similar track in soybean, in palm oil. Industry estimates suggest that edible oil prices overall have gone up 12 to 15% over the last year. Now, the reasons are not entirely domestic. Higher global prices, freight costs, dependence on the rupee depreciation, and geopolitical instability. Now, we know that there's been issue with shipping because of the war in Iran, and that has increased fuel prices across the world, and so it puts pressure on shipping. And we know what has happened to our rupee, which makes everything that we import more expensive. So if you import about 60% of something you consume, the problem somewhere else in the world will quickly add up to costs in your kitchen and your family budget. July alone, India imported 1.4 million tons of edible oil, which was up from 1.1 million tons of edible oil in June. That's a 35% increase in 1 month. Industries executives don't expect this substantial relief for the prices to cool down right now, at least until November, where new quantities will start to arise. So as of now, we've got onions that are more expensive, sugar, we've got cooking oil, and then packaged goods. So here's what's happening. FMCG companies are telling us that because of higher commodity prices and higher energy prices and logistics costs and the margins actually being squeezed, they're preparing to pass on those margins to you. What does this mean? It means that the industry has already taken a price increase of 2 to 5% in the June quarter. Britannia, for example, expects another 2% price impact in the current quarter. And you might not necessarily see it printed on the packet. You might actually see less of the product inside the packet altogether. There's shrinkflation around the corner, which basically means that if a biscuit, if you used to get, a certain amount of biscuits in weight for 5 rupees, you will still get the packet for 5 rupees, but it'll be smaller because the weight of the product inside that packet will be reduced. So effectively, remember, in India, we buy products based on the price. You would say 5 rupees ka biscuit dena, 10 rupees ka Parle Ji dena, and because of that, you'll still get 10 rupees ka Parle Ji. There will be smaller biscuits inside that Parle Ji. Now, imagine this happening to everything that you buy from your household packaged goods. And that is effectively what's happening. Hindustan Lever expects a sequential inflation of about 2 to 5% in the September quarter as well. Dabur has warned of elevated input costs. Godrej Consumer Products, Tata Consumer Products have left open the possibility of increasing prices if costs remain high. Also, we understand the phone bill is going to get higher as well. Airtel has withdrawn 4 prepaid plans. There's a 16% increase in consumers moving from the old to the new plans. So basically, they're junking old plans, and all the new plans are 16% more expensive. Jio is preparing to relaunch, some of its tariffs as well that will have a hike in prices. Now, this is not reflecting in our official inflation numbers just yet. In June, our consumer numbers came in at 4.3. Food inflation was at 5%. This, what we're looking at right now, will probably show up a couple of months from now. There are main reasons why this is happening. First, the weather and domestic supply has been weak. Second, festive demand is obviously adding more pressure. India's dependence on imports, the rupee that is weakening against the dollar. Remember, we've been at 95 and above for a very long time, and that is not a comfortable place for the rupee to rest for this long. And finally, companies passing on those higher costs to consumers. What happens to the Indian economy if this continues? Now, we know that the government has brought a train for the onions, that they have allowed import on sugar, but it does seem like the larger issues that ail the economy are not being tackled completely. Remember, we still have a huge job problem. There are issues in the in rural employment. People are not getting jobs. There are issues also in urban employment. People are not getting jobs. So people are not making enough money right now. So if this continues, if the Mengai continues at this point, first thing that will happen is families will start cutting down on discretionary spending. So they will cut off anything that they can do without. That will lead to corporates making less money because they will not be able to sell. Consumption will weaken, the consumer wave will weaken, business will face higher costs, they will start laying people off, or they will start cutting salaries. Then we'll have the RBI eventually respond with higher interest rates. Higher interest rates will make business more expensive. It will make loans more expensive. And invariably, what this will do is hit the growth numbers or the GDP growth numbers of the country. So we could talk about what an onion means, and the government could flood the market with cheaper onions if they can. But the larger institutional issues that we have in our economy right now are not yet being solved. We've seen these symptoms pop up in several things. The fact that global investors don't find the Indian market attractive anymore. A lot of that foreign money has started to pull out. In fact, that we're seeing this kind of inflationary pressure. The fact that we've absorbed so much pain that has come in from the Iran war because we're so dependent on imports, because our rupee has weakened to the level that it has. These are all symptoms that everything is not right with the Indian economy, and that pain is being borne by the average tax-paying Indian, specifically the salaried middle class. Is the government going to do something about that? We're going to have to watch and see. Leave me a comment in the comment section if this is something you've noticed in your everyday life. Because on one hand, there can be narrative building on the bigger numbers, on the GDP numbers, on the Viksit Bharat, the fact that we are developing at this massive pace. But what is not deniable at all is what happens in your household budgets. Let me know what your experience has been in the comment section.